And so when it comes to humanitarian aid that we receive, because like in 22 के जो floods थे उसमें we received a lot of humanitarian aid as well. So what is our learning in terms of its disbursement and the way we were able to use it? उसके बारे में कुछ पता है?
So when you compare to 2010, when floods also came in 2010, and at that time we said that the worst. And so now we have a benchmark to compare 2022 to 2010. And the humanitarian aid that has come for this year is actually very less. The scope of the tragedy and the devastation and the loss and damage is so huge that humanitarian aid has just been able to cover very less percent of that, which would be like 8 to 10%. So there's a lot that has not been done. And of course, it's understandable and logical that you work within the resources that you have. So the government can't do everything, and that is why you had the humanitarian partners or INGOs and NGOs come in to support the government and the relief efforts. And that's how we were able to prevent more deaths and more greater disaster, but it was a collaborative effort. But one point to add here is that the humanitarian funding definitely was less compared to the actual need. And there are different reasons for that. It's the overall larger landscape of humanitarian funding. It starts with the pledges that different governments have made to Pakistan. It also starts with the different crises that are going on in the world. So of course, as a funding partner, as a humanitarian aid giving agency, you would have to think, okay, is it floods? Is it something else? Like, which country do I pick and choose? Who do I help and choose? There are different reasons actually for the humanitarian aid shrinking. So, but in this context, one thing is that the aid came very less, but it was not badly coordinated. As I said, the government here was very quick in issuing no objection certificates or facilitating humanitarian and development partners in doing their work. So there was better coordination within the same sector as well. Now, let's say I am an NGO that's working on, let's say, wash or food, and you're also working on food and wash. So do we go in the same area? Do we choose a different district? Which villages would you go into? Which villages would I go into? So that inter-sector coordination, that also greatly improved at the district level, at the provincial level, and the national level as well. But as far as humanitarian funding, another important thing to note here is that the money that the government received to help flood victims or for the response, it was mostly loans. So in the end, we have to pay back these loans. And again, look at the economic situation of the country and the fact that we have other loans to pay off. So now we have, the flood loan that we've taken, and now it has to also one of us or one generation of our Pakistan citizens will have to pay that off. Either it's us or it's the next and the next, and it's a built-up effect. So the point is that in 2010 or in the last disasters, it was grants, or it was grants. And in a grant, you don't have to pay back the grant. But for the government's point of view, right now, the lot of facilitation that the government has done to help people, it's through loans, which we eventually have to pay back. And with the humanitarian sector, it has been mostly grants, and the money that has been dispersed, as you said, again, different NGOs and INGOs work on different themes. One really quick, effective way is to give cash, multi-purpose cash assistance, or cash assistance for food, which means we empower the individual, we give them the resources and say, this is the money, now you spend it on whatever need you have. Many times we restrict it to food, that's called cash assistance for food only. Many times it's called multi-purpose cash assistance. There are different ways to disperse this. You could do it. One way that many organizations do it, that they use different online wallets or apps such as Easy Pesa. Or it could be through our cellular companies, the notable ways to transfer money. You use that because they're retailers all over the district, so they can facilitate this process. You can even give cash in hand in emergency situations, which is not really preferred or ideal. But if the telecom network is down, or if people don't have access to markets or vendors or banks, then this is the only choice that they have. So a lot of experiences also have been that how do we give cash, or how do we disperse aid to people, especially monetary aid? What documents have to be submitted, or what documents have to be reviewed? And an important thing is having an NIC and having a mobile SIM.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, first of all, they don't have it, especially women don't have CNIC.
Yeah.
Now, if you had it, it got washed away in the flood. So now what proof do you have?
Right.
You have a mobile phone, maybe you lost it, or maybe you don't have electricity, so how will you charge it? So how will that app work? If I say, oh, let's go to a bank, you could say that, the banks are no more, or they're locked, or the area is waterlogged. Now, these are also the practical steps to consider while dispersing aid. And I talk about this not in the very larger context, but in the actual ground reality of what people face. So another thing is, I talked about cash assistance, and then you give items of relief like food and shelter. So very interestingly, there have been examples where a lot of NGOs or INGOs, they came up giving a food package that didn't even make sense for people. The food rations that you are making, will people eat that food? Are you giving them more wheat, more flour, more beans? Is it based on some international standard? Those are also practical things to consider. If you're giving people, let's say, a relief package, how many blankets does it have? How many set of clothes are you giving people? How many set of soaps are you giving people? And there are international standards that the humanitarian sector has set in, but are they being followed? That's the question mark. Some did follow, some didn't. Some are learning, some have improved on that. So when you come to disbursement of aid, there are different mechanisms that need to be considered.
So इसका मतलब ये है कि like flood affected areas, उसमें if certain standards are not met, तो फिर जो people who are receiving that aid may not necessarily be helpful to them, right?